Culture evolves at the speed of light, just like your financial needs. When it comes to your money, Credit Karma keeps you in the know and ahead of the game. You can count on Credit Karma to keep up with your financial needs as they evolve. We'll help you monitor your progress and give personalized recommendations so you can make strides towards your goals and find your way to money. Make sure you're on the right track, no matter where you are on your financial journey. Intuit Credit Karma. Karma you can count on.
So welcome back to In the Mind of a Man. Jack's here with a super exciting episode this week. I have a very special guest, someone I actually came across on social media that intrigued me. She's a matchmaker and a dating expert that has coached thousands of people on dating towards long-lasting, committed relationships and avoiding wasting time in the gray area connections and situationships. Ooh, I can't wait to get into that. Can you believe this? I only found out about the term situationships a few weeks ago, which I did. And to find out there's actually dating coaches specializing in this area is truly fascinating to me. So let's welcome Kimberly Rae. She's actually sitting right in front of me. So this is not a Zoom. This is even more uncomfortable than ever. She's in the studio with me. Kimberly, thanks so much for being here today. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
I'm sweating. I'm nervous. I'm turning red.
No, you're good.
I'm going to probably be lost for words because I've never sat in front of a dating coach before. Therapist, yes, but never somebody that's going to like focus on this and find out all my flaws. So I'm super excited about that.
I'll try not to embarrass you.
Okay, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. First of all, I got to ask, how did you get into this?
Yeah.
I probably should be asking this later down the line, but I need to know how you got it. How does somebody get into this situation? And I hate to say don't take this offense. Were you scorned in some way and you thought, you know what? I'm going to fucking help these women out because I'm not letting this happen to them.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I kind of always wanted to go into this space. Like even in college, I was like, I want to be a dating coach. I interned with a dating coach.
Yeah.
And just thought it was really interesting.
Did you date a lot before this?
Yeah. I mean, I was dating and I had been in situationships and I had my own experiences, so I had a lot to draw from. But then when I graduated, I went straight into matchmaking. And so I had
Wait, how did you went straight into did you start your own business? Or did
I started working for an agency.
Okay.
And so right from the start, I was matching pretty high profile people and giving advice at a pretty young age.
Really?
In my early 20s, yeah. And then, at the same time having my own experiences and
do you find it therapeutic?
Everything. Yeah.
Do you find it do you feel really good after giving off a conversation? Okay.
Yeah.
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 And, well, I'll get into that in a minute. Okay. Okay. So okay. I want to be honest. I really wasn't sure what you're going to say if you were actually going to do the podcast with me. I feel like I'm probably the exact guy that you tell your clients not to date or be associated with. So in full transparency, I had my publicist, Lori, who is here right now, reach out to you and test the waters to see if you would be open to this. Lori told me she really laid out, everything that you're allowed to say, and you have full permission to call me out on anything you want. That's why I'm really nervous. So I really appreciate you coming in today, and I'm going to hold to that, and I guess I'm just going to let you ask me anything you want.
Yeah. Well, I was telling Lori, you remind me of a lot of my male clients.
Oh, great.
Because I work with a lot of women, but I kind of tend to attract this just personality male. The male clients have big personalities and they're similar to you where they've had interesting pasts and they're kind of ready to pursue something serious or just kind of have that awakening of okay, I'm kind of understanding what I did in the past and I want to try to move in a different direction. So yeah.
But you got to if do you deal with a lot of guys that are around my age, mid-30s, late 40s? It's so hard to break these bad patterns. Yeah. And unfortunately, for me, I have a lot of bad patterns. I don't want to sound conceited or whatever, but dating was never really hard for me. It just came to me. And I just really wasn't the best person. Maybe it's because of my past and what I did for a living. And I almost just didn't care. And it's just awful to say now that I can reflect back on it. I just didn't care. I just go through the motions. I don't know if I ever really, truly loved any of these girls. I just think I went through the motion.
Yeah. When you look back to your early 20s, 30s, were you dating differently than
I don't even know. I'm so, God, if we're going back to my early 20s, 30s, I would not consider them like I was in love. I would consider them, girlfriends, but even that, I just never took it seriously. I just figured this is what you do. You're supposed to get a girlfriend, and this is what you had. And my buddies had one, so I'm like, I might as well get one. And because, I didn't want to be the one that was left out, so I might as well get a girlfriend. Regardless if I really attract this person, I like what she does. I almost skipped all that. I was superficial. I said, you know what? She's hot. I had no idea anything else. She was hot, and this is the person I want to sleep with.
So there was no societal pressure of like needing to start a family or head in that direction at all.
No, I had none of that because I guess living in Hollywood, the industry I was in, I'm in the entertainment world, and I just the last thing I was thinking about at that time was families. In fact, before I met Brittany, I never wanted to get married, never wanted animals, never wanted a house. I never wanted any of that. I kind of just wanted to be somewhat of a free spirit and just do what I wanted when I wanted.
Bachelor life,
then I met Brittany, and that all changed. I got married, bought a house, got a couple dogs. Now we have a son, and I guess it took for me to meet the right person at that time. But I guess,
Very interesting. So you mentioned recently, like you were kind of that 3-week guy. Like I
was a 3-week wonder.
Yeah. You were dating them for 3 weeks and then getting the hell out of there. Like what made the difference of if you stayed longer than 3 weeks?
I was bored. Like I have ADD really bad. I don't know if I was recently diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. I really haven't gotten that far in kind of doing my research on bipolar as far as relationships go. I assume it does, but I just really got bored. And I hate to say this again, I'm sounding terrible, but I'm going to be honest here. I really was able to get whatever girl I wanted. Lori's probably going to kill me for saying this, but I really, really was. I didn't really have a problem when it came to women. So I just felt like the world was kind of my oyster. It was a kid in a candy store. And I just kind of felt like, okay, 3 weeks, I got what I needed. And, 9 times out of 10, we've already had, sexual relations by then. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm like, I got what I needed. And, and the girls that I was dating too, they were very face value. It's not like they were like serious. They wanted to find out about me. They wanted to know what was going on in my life. They wanted to meet my family. It was just very face value.
So they weren't coming to you being like, I'm looking for something serious. What are you looking for?
No.
Okay. What do you think would have happened if someone came to you with that conversation?
Trying to think. That maybe have happened once or twice, and that probably would have scared me off. I don't know, just because, like I said, this is just so, I can't believe you're calling me out. It's just so disgusting. I just didn't want to be stuck with one girl. I wanted to know what else, the grass, they always say the grass is always greener, but it really isn't. But I was just going from one girl to the next. I really was. I was just going from one to the next to the next. I would have, and this is another word, I would have a roster. And this is terrible. And I would go down my roster, and who was busy tonight? If they weren't busy, I'd go to number 2. If they weren't doing, then I'd go to number 3. And then I would circle back to, if I wasn't doing anything at night, I haven't talked to the number 4 girl on there. Maybe I should check in with her just to keep them all there. Instead of being honest and being like, listen, I'm only here for this. I was too worried to let him go because then I'd be alone.
Yeah. So how are you prioritizing that roster? Like what made the difference?
I'm not doing that anymore. No, I mean now. Back then, I wasn't prioritized. I was actually pretty good at it.
They were all kind of equal.
They were all equal. They were all and I would just put them like, okay, who's busy? Who do I like the most, or who I have the best time with? I would call her, and like I said, if she was not there, I would go to number 2 and number 3, and then you know what? I haven't talked to number 4 in a week and a half. I better check in with her because she's going to drop off if I don't.
Yeah.
And and I'd be so smooth about it. I'm like, oh, I wasn't around, or I'm so sorry, I was busy. And it was just such disgusting behavior now that I look back at it now, because I was just leading these girls on. And they thought it was more than it was, but I knew in the back of my head, this ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's one of the biggest indicators and where we get into trouble when women or men like kind of get into these situationships or undefined connections where they're assuming that the other person's on the same page because they're showing up in a romantic way when they are connecting, or when they are connecting, they're saying all the right things.
That's
like
exactly.
You, right? You're being really smooth.
Love bomb.
Yeah.
Right
so
off the bat.
Of course, if they're kind of relationship minded, they're thinking, oh, he is too. He's like saying all this stuff. He's being so sweet to me. Like, I don't even need to have the conversation because of course we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And that's where people kind of fall into that trap of assuming and just staying in it for too long. And in your case, I mean, who knows, maybe the women were also kind of casual, but
I've never met, and none of the girls I ever met were like, oh, I'm just here just to have fun. Like, that would have thrown me for a loop. Like, see, I've never had that. Usually they want to, let's get in a relationship right away. Now, if a girl would have done that to me, I would have been probably super attracted to her. I would have been like, this is the one right here that's going to keep me on. The one that's not calling me back. The one that's kind of just leaving me hanging. The one that's kind of just messing with my head a little bit. And I've had a couple girls like that, and those are the ones that are always in the back of my mind.
Yeah, because it causes the mind drama of like what's
well, because I've been
here.
always used to it a certain way that I've gotten what do I want, and now these girls are playing me and playing me at my own game, and I'm like, damn it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so beyond that, like beyond them kind of messing with your mind, like what were some of the attractive qualities that actually made you want to stick around versus like complete turnoffs from the very beginning?
I think in the beginning, well, I think again, I'm a firm believer that you have to be initially attracted to the person. So I was initially attracted to them. They got along. I always brought them around my friends. I always brought these girls around my friends. My friends always loved them. I always got approval from everybody else. For some reason, I seeked approval from everybody else. Like I told my friends, like, hey, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? And they, always they'd be like, oh, she's hot and this and that, whatever. Yeah, she's cool. And that's kind of where I went with it. And then, I would spend 24/7 with these girls for the first week, calling all the time like this. And then probably that was the problem. It was just too much too quick. And then, like I said, it would start to fall off because now I got these girls used to it. Now I got them liking this kind of thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got a serious guy here. This is going well. And and then I got them trained. Like for me calling all these I hate to say we're trained, but I got them. I would call them on a regular basis, and it was going really, really good. And then I'm like, oh gosh, this is getting a lot. And then by the next week and a half, they're all into it. They're ready to go, and then I'm falling off, and they're like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
and they're completely blindsided.
And they're blindsided
right? Because like none of your behavior, unless you're actively thinking, okay, this is like kind of love bomby.
Yeah.
Your behavior looks like you're totally interested and invested.
Right.
Right. And so they have no idea. They're completely blindsided after a couple of weeks. And I think that's something that people, like women especially, really need to pay attention to of like, just because someone in the early stages is showing up in this like smooth way.
Well, all guys do that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? If you're completely honest, if I told them exactly what was going on in my brain, they would have got up and walked away 2 minutes later.
So you were having like specific thoughts of like,
exactly.
I'm not.
And everyone's like,
intending.
you know what? Like now, like you talked about, you're like, just be honest, just be open. And yes, ideally, that's what I want to do. I like to be honest. But if I told girls who I am or they know who I am, they would be like, get the first Uber out of here. Like they would be gone.
Yeah.
And then I'm left with nobody. So you got to, and I'm not the only guy that does this. You tell girls in the beginning what they want to hear.
Yeah. So what would have happened if they asked you a direct question of like, are you serious about this? Or like, what are you intending for this? Would you have just left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you asking me the question?
Yeah.
I never had that. And that's another thing too. Like in all the relationships I have, I think none of the girls I ever dated really got to know me. Like I felt like they never kind of dove deep into my background or asked how I felt or what I'm going through, because I was going through mental health for many, many years. And it's just recently that I've kind of come to terms with it and got diagnosed and, got on medication and everything for it. But I think I was going through all these things and just kind of not talking about it. And there was a lot going on with me in my early days, a lot mentally. And I think I was just such in a whirlwind of just going from girl to girl to girl and masking it and not dealing with my problems. If I would have went to therapy in my 20s, I think I would have been a different person because I would have figured out why I'm doing this. Why am I doing this in relationships? Why am I doing this to girls? There's a reason.
Yeah.
Did I learn it from my mom and dad? No, because my parents have a healthy relationship. Where did I get this behavior from? Because this is not really normal.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm not a psychologist, so I'm not going to diagnose, but it's interesting how even like early relationships can, or just relationships with friends or social dynamics can influence just like how we show up. Also, from pretty early on, you kind of became a public figure, like larger than life personality. And so that's going to affect how women are showing up with you too.
Right.
And just like how comfortable they are voicing things about like what they need in the dynamic. Or, I mean, they may have been a little bit intimidated.
And I've thought about it too. I'm like, what are the reasons why I did this? I think if I lived in a smaller town, if I lived in where my wife's from, Kentucky, or where I'm from, Michigan, I would have been happily married. I would have had the kids and things would be going smooth. I think a lot has to deal with, and people may disagree with me, that living in Hollywood for so long plays a major, major role. Yeah. You got to remember, this is a melting pot for good-looking people, right? So everybody from, the hottest girl in Ohio at her school ended up moving here. The hottest girl from a school in Florida ended up moving here. Now you have a melting pot of everybody was told they were beautiful. All here. You got the clubs, you got the nightlife, you got everything going on in Hollywood, right? Why would you want to settle down with one person when you could have done that in your hometown? Do you know what I'm saying? It's like a candy store here. It's like nobody really... And then the women, like, that try to date people, like, I'm never going to date a guy in Hollywood because all guys think the same here. This is a melting pot for fun.
Yeah.
Peter Pan syndrome.
And, I mean, not only does it attract, like, beautiful people, but I think it attracts those personalities of people that, like, want more.
They want more.
For themselves.
They're never satisfied.
Want the big life. And so yeah, you kind of are, maybe there's a little bit of that, too, just, like, within your DNA. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, I'm an open book, and I really decided to launch this series inside the mind of a man. This is kind of a new thing for me. So to actually kind of help some women out, I own up to my bad behaviors, and I feel like I can resource those struggling and maybe give some constructive insight into why men behave the way they do. And helping women look out for all the red flags. And I've pretty much been a very large... it's been pretty much a large part of my life, and I'm the poster child for a walking red flag. So anyway, all that's I have to say, seriously, I really, really appreciate you for being here. And so essentially, you are the situationship guru, and even offer a workshop for people struggling in situationships to teach people how to completely transform their dating approach and ditch unhealthy situationships forever. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about, like, what do you think a situationship is? Because I'm learning what this is. Yeah. I'm learning what all these words are. Now, I've done all these things: love bombing, gaslighting, situationships, breadcrumbing. Mm-hmm. I'm learning. These have all been around forever, but now they all have terms.
Yeah. Situationships, I define as any connection that's in the gray area, right? There isn't a clear container. It's not heading in a specific direction.
Right.
Maybe you think it is, but you haven't had that conversation, so you're really just assuming. So it's really just this undefined connection. It's different from dating, because dating is you're dating towards a specific, you're dating a direction.
Well, how long, when does it become a situationship? A week in, 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in?
I think it becomes a situationship as soon as you're not having those direct questions and you really don't know what's happening, right? It can be like pretty much every situation you've been in is a situationship. I've been in a situationship. Yeah, you've been in like hundreds probably. Yeah,
and I've literally gotten girlfriends by like, oh my God, I have a girlfriend now, like because I didn't have a choice, because it was either get a girlfriend or she's gonna leave. Yeah. So I would just be like, okay, I guess we're girlfriend and boyfriend now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so and like I was saying earlier, people get into these because they don't communicate, they don't bring up what they actually want, and so you really don't know what's happening there. You're kind of assuming, your mind's going crazy because you're like, okay, he's showing up, really invested today, but I haven't heard from him for a week. And he's texting me a little bit, but, where was he when I wanted him to meet my friends the other weekend? It's just all over the place. And so you're really just trying to like catch up and engage what the hell's going on.
Right.
And so in this course, I really teach like how to date black and white, very like clear cut, no BS, like no trying to fill in just the gaps with, considering the nuances of, but, he says this, so maybe it's a little bit different. No, like you were saying, you're either like interested or you're not. You either have a roster or you're not, and it can really be that clear.
Am I the only one that has this roster?
No.
I've heard this. A lot of...
No, and I mentioned the roster. It can be a ton of different things.
This is a thing, the roster?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I thought that was my own key phrase for this because I was like, I was trying to look for the word of like having a list of girls, and I wanted to use it like it's a roster. It really is.
Yeah, it's called a roster.
Okay, I did not know that. I'm learning. I didn't know. Man, maybe I should be a relationship.
Yeah.
Maybe we can work together. Have you seen all the stuff on TikTok about all this lately? About girls going on there like full on having meltdowns.
Oh yeah. I mean, obviously all my social media is like all dating stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's my field.
Right.
So it's like I see all those videos. And it's sad.
It's sad, right?
Yeah.
But the fact that they're taking it to social media is a little. I mean, I get sucked into watching it, just like. I mean, because you just want to watch it, and you're like, "Where is this going?" Like this person got on their phone, wherever they lived, and they said, "You know what? I'm going to break this down, and I'm going to be emotional about it. I'm going to be raw about it for the whole world to see."
Yeah. Well, and that shows you just like how far it can take you, right?
How
like
broken.
even a 3-week situationship can completely break you, even worse than like a 4-year-long relationship, because there's so much emotion, there's so many like love chemicals involved, and you're just all consumed.
And what do you tell the girl that, kind of says, I'm in this relationship, I like him a lot, he seems to be distancing himself, like for like a girl that's kind of basically that was dating me.
Yeah.
First of all, they should just run. If you see me coming, run. Like if you deal with somebody who's kind of like, they're dating a 3-week wonder, right?
Yeah.
And they probably ask you why. Why is he be distancing himself? Do you say, hey, can you explain to me how you guys acted? Is that how you? Yeah,
I'd be like, how is he showing up? And
first of all, did you have sex with him the first night? Let's be honest. Right?
Yeah, like when did that happen?
Yeah.
How is he showing up? Has he communicated that he wants anything serious?
Right.
And
guys just don't do that. We're men. We just don't do that.
But some do. That's the thing.
I've like maybe I'm in this bubble in Hollywood where we just don't. I guess maybe in different parts of the world they do because it's a little bit slower. But I feel like men here in Hollywood, they just, and I'm not just segregating in Hollywood, they don't want to go there. They want to leave it very vague. That way they don't have to talk about it. Because once you start going there, once you start talking about it, now you're laying some ground rules, and now it's going to limit you from your life. Where if you put it off long enough, you don't have to talk about it.
But is that your friend group, or is that all of Los Angeles?
I don't want to say all. Man, it's just some of the friends and then some not. I feel like people just kind of want to keep leaving their options open, and then once a girl starts asking where is this going, it scares them off. It scared off some of my friends. But my friends are mostly degenerates, so I mean,
yeah, that's why I'm like, because there are guys, like I have clients that are like kind of having this conversation, but thinking women are the ones that are putting them through hell and like the situationships and stuff. It's I'm seeing all kinds of things, and it's and even if you look at my social media comments, the videos that are going viral on situationships, it's like mostly men in there talking about women doing this to them.
Really? So it's kind of turned a little bit.
Yes, like I mean, I don't know if it's turned, but it's like men, I think, are as equally, a good amount of them, thinking that this is happening to them.
Well, because you think girls are getting smarter and they're angling? Because I know when I was I'm 45. Now, when I was doing my dating, I felt like girls kind of held men a little bit more accountable. Do you think do you think girls are getting, I don't know the word I'm looking for here. Do you think it's changed over the last 5 years? That's the best way to put it.
Because social media has completely lifted a veil.
Right.
I think like even the TikToks that we're seeing are like, women are kind of like getting angry and getting like, okay, we need to kind of stand up and communicate.
So you think they're getting more just like assertive? Do you think women are standing up for themselves more as opposed? Because I thought it was a lot harder to date in the past because I felt like, well, maybe there's no social media much there. But now, like you're right. Now with social media, women can find out what's going on. They can MacGyver it and go through your situations. Yep. You did this, you did that. So I guess social media, it's another one of those things that social media has ruined, is dating.
It's definitely lifted a veil of just like the dynamics and what's happening. I remember when I was in situationships, like the best book I read to kind of help clear things up was Attached, which was about attachment styles. But for some reason that like helped click things for me. Nowadays, there's so many more resources, and like you just open your phone and there's coaches and therapists talking about relationship dynamics, and it's just at your fingertips. Yeah,
there is. There's a lot. Like I once you get into like your algorithm starts picking it up. I've had a lot. I've been asked this by by a lot of our listeners. Can a situationship turn into a relationship? Can
Yes.
a situationship turn into a relationship?
Yes. The thing is, though, what people think is that if you stay in a situationship long enough, it will just eventually turn into a relationship, because the other person will see how great you are, and they'll just see how like great of a partner you can be, and more time actually just reinforces the current dynamic, because clearly it's been working for one person or the other, right? Like if you're, let's just do like male-female dynamic. Like if you're a woman that wants a relationship and you've been staying in a situationship and the guy hasn't been progressing things towards a relationship, it's because it's working for him. Right. Like he likes it, the dynamic, how it is right now, because he's getting his emotional needs met. He's getting relationship benefits without actually having to be tied down. And so more time does not work in your favor. More time keeps you just stuck, and
it keeps her stuck.
Yeah, it keeps her stuck.
But the guy's fine with it.
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah.
He's like, great. She's not bringing anything up to me. She's making things really comfortable for me.
But you know she's talking to her friends being like, should I bring this up?
Oh, she's spiraling.
Right.
She's like in emotional warfare right now. And he's like, as long as she doesn't bring it up, like we're good. This is great.
Yeah.
And so if it's going to shift into a relationship, how you're showing up in that dynamic completely needs to shift.
Okay.
There needs to be empowerment. There needs to be just like more confidence in voicing what you need. You need to reduce like the relationship privileges that you've been giving and deprioritize that man.
Yeah.
If we're talking about like the women in this situation, you really need to pull away what's kept this dynamic thriving.
Right.
Right.
I think when a woman pulls away, it makes me want her even more.
Yeah,
like I think when she is not so needy, which I'm saying this in a really good way, if she kind of just, distance herself a little bit. I know it's hard. I know girls are emotional and they fall in love. I get that. But if they can just try and pull away a little bit and let him go after you is because then he's going to be like, for me anyway, in the back of my head, why isn't she calling me? Yeah. Where is she at? I thought it was going good. Like now you're role reversing. Yeah.
You want him to be a little confused.
Right.
Like,
absolutely. I love it when I'm confused. It drives me more.
Yeah. And it's, you have to be careful not to play games, because you don't want to like get into toxic territory where you're like trying to play games. But if you're really putting yourself first and you're deprioritizing someone that isn't really giving you the time of day or isn't making you a priority, naturally you're going to reduce time with them. Naturally, you're going to start breaking away from what the connection has been, and they're going to be confused.
And do girls do you think most girls nowadays do their research? They do deep dives on Instagram. They find out what's his relationship status. Why is he single? Why is he this age and hasn't had a serious girlfriend?
Are you asking for yourself?
Like, I'm like, not for myself, but I'm getting back out in that world. Well, I mean, I'll get back into that, but I'll get on to something else. So what's your take on ghosting? So I've also talked to a lot on this subject, and it's kind of rampant in the dating scene right now. I give it my reasoning as this to why I think guys do this. I talked about it last week, actually, but I'm curious to know your thoughts. Why can two people have a few great dates, then a guy comes in super strong, love bombs, we kind of got into this, then checks out, then pulls away, ghosts, vanishes into thin air? And I think we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what's your, I guess, short take on that?
Oh gosh, there could be a million reasons, but I think the main thing is someone can show up in a way that makes it seem like they're super interested, even with doubts in the back of their head of like, I'm not completely sure. Right. And when they get to the point where they're like, you know what, I'm just not fully in it, they just feel that it's more comfortable for them to just phase out. But why can't they just be honest? Because it's that fear of... Right there. I'm going to tell you why I don't want to be honest, because there's a fear there. Yeah, it's a fear. You just don't want to have that conversation. And then I just don't want to go like, you're a fucking scumbag. You're a piece of shit. And like, that's my fear. Yeah. I could be honest, and it's a lot easier said than done. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to be honest. But then when it comes to do that, I'm like, if I ghost, maybe I won't get that. She'll just be like, or maybe she'll be upset, or maybe I just won't hear from her again instead of hearing that you're a piece of shit. Totally. That's what guys don't want to hear. You hear that enough, then after a while, you're going to start believing it. Yeah. So...
What can some of these women do after they've been ghosted and they're heartbroken? How do they handle the ghoster if it comes back? Oh, that's a good one. I mean, let's be real. The roster of women is drying up. They're always trying to come back. And this is very, very true. I said this before. Like, you have a roster, for instance, you got 4 girls that you have on rotation, which is, again, I'm sorry about saying this, people, but I'm being honest. So eventually, I mean, around 3, especially now with social media, around the 3-4 week mark, they're going to figure it out. They're going to figure it out. Social media, friends, the world's small. Yeah. So there's probably about a 3 to 4 week, maybe a month window where you can keep juggling this. Yeah. And then it's good. What is your suggestion on that?
If someone ghosts you, I think you have to mentally just like completely shut it off for yourself and close that door. Or you can send that text of like, hey, I'm closing this out. Yeah. Like, we're done.
Right.
Because they will come back, right? Especially
100% they're going to come back.
And like, we kind of have a sixth sense when someone's doing really well and they're kind of prioritizing themselves and putting, their needs first and going after life and doing well. We either see it or we sense it, and that's attractive. It makes us kind of want to come back, and just, even if we're not intending to come back for an actual relationship, we want to like see what we can get. Right. And I'm saying we, just in general, like humans are kind of, that tends to happen. And so you will hear from them again. You have to just not even engage.
And what are the signs when you're dating somebody that, okay, they're a good match?
Yeah. I think there's going to be, like, just with humans, there's going to be some quirks and some things you don't like about someone. Yeah. But if you can align on personality, like your personalities, match fairly well, not meaning you have to have the same personality type, but like you can communicate well, you have fun together, you have similar life goals, your lifestyle looks similar and you want to keep going down that path, and you make each other feel good. Like, you're not afraid to voice your needs or bring up something that's uncomfortable, and you're met with the other person like, putting you down or you making you feel bad for bringing something up like that. You need that safety.
And this is a question I'm just thinking about right now. This is the date. This question goes way, way, way back, and this has been a back and forth question forever. What are your, I guess I would say, rules on intimacy? Do you like that is a huge factor to some guys? Well, most guys. When is it too soon? When is it not long enough? Like, is that a kind of a personal? I mean, is that a
it's personal?
Yeah, I mean,
but when I'm coaching women on dating towards commitment, right? First, typically no intimacy unless you've had that exclusivity conversation. You know that you're just focusing on each other, right? And that can happen. I mean, it depends. A couple dates in, it can happen a couple weeks in, but like, bottom line, if you're dating towards commitment and you're intending to be in a committed relationship through dating, like, you need to understand if that person's sleeping with other people or just dating other people.
Right. And do you bring that up, like, on the date? Are you sleeping with other people? That's another, like,
a couple dates in, you can ask.
I've had this question. Are you sleeping with other people? Can you tell me? And it's usually a couple dates in, and most of them will say, can you let me know? Can you tell me? Yeah. Are you being safe? Yeah. I feel like that's a normal question to ask. Because you want to understand, if you're going to get intimate with someone, you want to understand, like, what are they doing when you're not around? Right.
Like, what's going on with them? How are you thinking about this connection? How are you thinking about dating in general? Yeah. Right? These are the questions that you need to understand to be able to make an empowered decision for yourself of, like, does this make sense? Or, because women, when we sleep with men, like, that's when we start to fall for them. Right. Right? Like, it's just, we start to get in deep emotionally.
Do you think intimacy has changed over the last 5 years in relationships? This is my own personal question. Do you think it's changed in the last few years? Is the new generation, are they as interested in sex as the generation that I grew up in, that you grew up in? Is it different nowadays? Are people putting it as a priority as opposed to, like, when they used to, or do you think it's the same?
I think it's the same.
Nothing's changed when it comes to sex.
It's okay. It's the same.
Okay. I've also talked a lot about how people and myself gravitate towards toxic relationships, almost needing those super highs and those super lows. I do. What's your advice on that? And this goes with me. I need the super highs and super lows. I will get bored if there's and it's really, really terrible that I need that. I need the highs and lows. I need the constant. I can't just be like everything's going too well. And what I do, sabotage.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
I don't know if you'll like this answer. It might not be satisfying for you, but we need relationships, like the foundation of them, to be boring. We need them to be boring, because if they are on shaky ground, it's like trying to build a house and, you know, something sustainable on like stilts, like those houses over the beach. Like, it's just going to fall apart. And you can layer in the excitement and the intimacy and the chemistry on top of that like boring foundation, but the root of it needs to be really stable and really calm, and you need to feel really safe. And that's strange for someone like you and people that are used to the highs and lows and the intense excitement and just the intensity in general. You kind of have to train yourself to sit in it for a little bit,
right?
And get used to the fact that, okay, this feels really calm, almost boring.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start to layer in the excitement on top of it.
Gotcha. Now, this is just a personal question for me, and I a lot of people probably don't believe this, but I, in the relationship, like to be controlled. I like to be told what to do, when we're doing it, where we're going. I like that. I don't like to call the shots in relationships. And I know a lot of women like men to be assertive and like stuff, but I really like it when I'm told what to do. Is that how do you feel about it? Like a structure. I like, okay, honey, this is what we're doing tonight. This is what we're having for dinner. We're going to meet the Joneses at 6 o'clock. Then we're going to Disney on Saturday. I like that. I like it when the woman wears the pants in a relationship. My mother wore the pants in a relationship. My grandmother wore the pants in a relationship. That's just how I grew up. So I don't know anything different. I think maybe that's because why I like that so much.
Yeah.
But my mom ran the show, and the household was perfect. My dad went to work, paid the bills. My mom ran everything else. Grandmother, same thing. Is that weird for me? Should I change that up? That's hard for me, though.
No.
I just don't like that. I don't like being in control.
People have different preferences in relationships. Like, I think that just kind of helps you understand what type of women that you need to be with.
Yeah.
But in the dating, just navigating dating, it's interesting because women really want to be pursued. And
well, pursuing is something, but once you get them, and then once you get them in a relationship and you kind of say, hey, this is how I am, and pursuing, I think, is a little different as opposed to, well, not for me. I think it's, unfortunately, it's never been that way for me. I've had the women come to me and before that. That sounds terrible, but that's just how it worked for me. But I really enjoyed that. Like, do you know a lot of men that are like that? Is that a normal thing? Is that normal?
I don't know if I'd say it's normal. I think like every relationship.
Do you think it's a generational thing? Do you think like it was a big thing I know in the 80s and the 90s, that's what men went to work. The woman stayed home and she ran the show. Yeah. And I'm an 80s, like 90s
with the social piece and managing your calendar and what you're doing.
Taking care of the kids, managing the home. Basically, they're the queen. They take care of everything. The guy goes out to work and does his thing. And that's how, And like I said, my parents stayed together, but then again, I don't know if it was in the 80s, 90s things and women are now changing. I don't know. And I feel like sometimes that's going to hurt me because I have met some girls that want to be like, I want to be told what to do. I want you to order dinner for me. I want you to do, Yeah. I mean, we've come towards kind of the end of this and I feel like we could go on forever, but as I told everybody, I'm going to hold my end of the bargain here as promised and let Kimberly take the floor here with some hard-hitting questions, which I'm very nervous about. Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm ready. I'm nervous, but I'm ready.
Do you think women's perception of you right now is accurate today?
Yes and no. I think I've changed a lot over the years being married. No, I don't think so. I think I'm a lot different. And I've told that. I've been told that everyone they meet me in person, like, wow, you're such a lot different person than you were on TV. Well, again, you're seeing a very, edited version of myself on television. You're not seeing the true person that I am because I've done a lot of great things that people haven't seen. And I am a caring person and I will do anything from everybody. Have I been the best towards women? No. I haven't. And I'm getting hit with all the hard truth that I've been going through, especially going through the facility that I went in and breaking myself down and like seeing all the toxic traits that I've done. I'm like, I've done that. I'm just like, oh shit. And I didn't realize it. So I think I'm getting better. I think it's still going to be there, but I'm definitely more aware and getting better about it. Yeah, it
seems like it. Since you're more aware with dating now, I don't know if you're currently dating or if you're looking into that eventually.
I'm not really sure if I'm there yet. Like I don't starting over dating after 10 years of not dating, I don't even know where to begin. The dating situation, apps and all this and going, I don't know if I want to do it. I just don't. And I don't know if I'm ready to be a good person for somebody. I'm still trying to fix myself, and I'm going to be a work in progress. I say this all the time for the rest of my life. And I just don't think that I can give myself to somebody like they need. I don't think I can give a woman the love that she needs right now. And I couldn't give it to my wife. So what makes you think I'm going to give it to somebody else?
No, that's great awareness. That was going to be my question. Like, if you are dating, how have you been treating them differently? But it sounds like you haven't really had that opportunity.
I gotta work on my brain right now and get that right before I even entertain dating.
Yeah. That's really commendable. Okay. Biggest regrets from just past dating relationships?
Just the way I handled girls, the way I treated women, the way I kind of disposable. I just don't think I was a very good person. I wasn't in it for the right reasons. I was there strictly for why most guys are in relationships. Again, I was living the Peter Pan syndrome. I didn't want to grow up. I'm living in Hollywood where, it's just lights, glimmer, clubs, partying. I just didn't want to settle down. And when I did, I would get caught in a settle down moment and I would move on after 3 weeks. I should have just stayed single. I should have been honest. It probably would have sucked a little bit more, but I think people would respect me a little bit more. I think I lost a lot of that.
Yeah. I think you're getting a lot of it back though now.
I'm trying.
Yeah, I think you are.
It's hard for me, but I'm trying.
All right.
Okay, guys, I hope I can have you back, by the way.
Yeah,
I hope we can hit some topics that are some serious, because we kind of were very broad here, but I hope we can hit like a topic that it's trending right now, and I hope I'm really excited about this.
Absolutely.
In the mind of a man. So, all right, guys, I hope this episode was helpful. Kimberly, thank you so much for chatting with me. Guys, make sure you check her out on her Instagram and TikTok. Handles are the same, KimberlyRae.life. And if someone wants to book your personal session, how can they do that?
They can find me just through the link in my bio.
Okay.
You can book a coaching session or check out my course, Stitch Savvy.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening, everyone. Have a beautiful day, guys. And we will talk to you next week.
Pluto TV is a place for movie fans like me.
And TV fans like me.
They've got something for everyone, and it's free.
I love free, and I love Jersey Shore.
For me, it's The Godfather.
SpongeBob SquarePants, I am Patrick. Patrick is me.
Oh, Forrest Gump, come on.
Criminal Minds, solving crime after bedtime.
Whatever you love to watch, Pluto TV makes it easy with thousands of free movies and shows.
Pluto TV, stream now, pay never.